So I tried to do a skull face, and I think I ended up looking more like a gay panda. Still doing the horns, cause I'm still in love with my boy Lucy. Die mad. That's gonna be the title of my Lucifer fan fiction, I Love Lucy. Although I'm sure that already exists, maybe? Still doing the fan fiction. Welcome to part 2 of the listicle. I'll link part 1 on the screen and in the carcancha down below. Last time we were talking about historical figures you could do respectful homages to in costume form for Halloween. Today is the more appropriate actual costume part of the list. We are diving into Latin Hispanic fictional characters you could dress up as for Halloween. As important as real historical figures are for the culture, I'd argue that fictional characters are just as or more important even. Why? We tend to get more invested in fictional characters than in real people. It's the same reason why we read the same books over and over, or watch the same movies, or why I've watched Smallville or Legends of Tomorrow a million times, and now that I've discovered Lucifer, I'm gonna watch that one a million times more. We will pay money, attention, affection to fictional characters in a way that we want for real life people. Weird and kind of sad if you think about it, but it makes sense. Fictional characters give us hope, catharsis, an escape, redemption, joy, in short, all the feelings. It's a very human thing too. Since the beginning of time, we have been telling stories with fictional or not characters to explain life, the world, the human condition. Stories and characters help us deal with life and accept things, or sometimes even better, heal from life. Life is both unfair, unjust, horrible, ugly, nasty, terrible, but also beautiful, weird, fun, amazing, and wild. Life is super wild. Again, in order to deal with all of that, fictional characters are very important, whether those characters are heroes or not. Having a hero is important to people. Having a cool villain is also very important. Most of the time, the villain is more relatable and of course way more fun than the hero. I probably should have put more than one villain on this list, but next year's list. But for having only one, I picked possibly the best one. Everyone else is a hero, mythological figure, and some fun stereotype, because why not? There is a lot of talk about culture not being a costume, and I agree with that. Culture is not a costume, but stereotypes can and should be. As a reminder, my 2 rules when it comes to doing costumes. 1, don't do brown, black, or yellow face. Jesus Cristo, stop doing that please. 2, do some research on the character you are dressing up as. There is a lot of gatekeeping with fictional characters, and I want to save you some embarrassment. A little bit of real research never hurt anybody. Enough with the blah blah blah, let's do this. Fictional characters. Number 1, Vibe, aka Cisco Ramon. Most of us know Vibe/Cisco Ramon from the Flash TV show on the CW. I love the first 2 seasons of The Flash. The rest are, well, the rest. Vibe debuted in the Justice League comics in 1984. Not in the classic JLA, but the JLA that operated out of Detroit after the original 7 left. During the One Punch era. If you know, you know. Vibe was a C-level character that has been killed off a couple of times in the comics. The Flash gave Cisco the much needed respect a Latin character deserves. Vibe does Vibe stuff, and Cisco is a fun, pop culture loving engineering genius that can build anything and everything the plot needs. Adorkable nerd. Carlos Valdez as Cisco is a delight the show and life in general needs. Calm down, show. You're about a guy that runs real fast. Number 2, Wildcat, Yolanda Montez. I think it's pretty obvious that I like the CW Arrowverse. Stargirl has been surprisingly enjoyable. I first saw Yolanda Wildcat Montez in the epic DC crossover event to end all crossover events for a couple years. Crisis on Infinite Earths. In comics lore, Yolanda is the goddaughter of the original Wildcat prize fighter Ted Grant. Ted trains all the DC Comics best fighters, mostly the women. Yolanda has fight training, cat-like agility, and claws. Nuclear Man style. Yolanda in the comics and on Stargirl embraces and isn't ashamed of her Latin roots. Come on, at least give her claws Wolverine style. Show some respect. Number 3, Joker, Cesar Romero. I know people rag on Batman 66 all the time, but I'm here to say it was good actually. Well, maybe not a masterpiece, but it's a lot of fun and super watchable. My favorite thing about Batman 66 is that it was way more diverse in its casting back then than comic book stuff is today. Case in point, self-proclaimed Latin from Manhattan, Cesar Romero, playing the Crown Prince of Crime. The best power move was the fact that Cesar would not shave his mustache for the role, so they just had to paint over it. That's hilarious. They should have at least done like the Band-Aid thing. Come to think of it, the Justice League movie should have done the Band-Aid thing too, but I digress. If you go back and watch those Joker episodes, you'll see that Cesar is giving a no-joke, superb performance. Joker, parte de la familia. Number 4, Green Lantern, Jessica Cruz. This one is new to me. I only know the other Green Lanterns, Hal Jordan, Guy Gardner, Jon Stewart, not that one, the other one, and Kyle Rayner. Jessica was trained by the OG Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, and partnered up with Simon Baz. Jessica is one of the few heroes who openly struggles with anxiety and PTSD. Latin Hispanic folks are notorious for ignoring mental health issues, so it's nice to see a powerful hero destigmatizing mental health problems. Green Lantern is a cool costume idea because you can make it a couple's costume or a group costume. There is a lantern for all occasions. Number 5, El Diablo, Chato Santana. When I saw El Diablo in Suicide Squad, I had no idea his name was Chato. That's a way cool cholo name. Chato Santana is a fellow hood baby from Boyle Heights out here in East LA, proving once again that good things can and do come out of the hood. While I do have problems with Chato being a kind of old school cholo, he proved to be a good dude actually, being powered by the spirit of vengeance. You could go with the cholo tattoo face thing or the cool Aztec Mayan skeleton fire god that was in the movie. That was one of the very few things that was really awesome in that movie. I am way too obsessed with skulls. Number 6, Gomez Addams, Raul, Julia. 90s kids remember and love the 2 Addams Family movies we got back then. Raul Julia as Gomez Addams is the kind of magical perfection that comes along once in a century, if we're lucky. Hashtag relationship goals will probably always be Gomez and Morticia from those 90s movies. If you haven't, go back and watch those movies. They're truly wonderful. A Latin lover type character that is classy, funny, elegant, and not at all offensive. That gets 2 enthusiastic thumbs up from me. Another costume that is great for couples or for a group. Number 7, the Death Gods. That sounds like some really cool metal band I'm about to present. The Death Gods. Since it is Halloween time, how about some scary costumes? These are filed under fictional characters because I'm treating these myths like we treat Greek, Roman, Viking myths. In my opinion though, Latin American gods are way cooler. We are covering the major civilizations to streamline this list. For the Inca, Quechua, and Aymara, Supay is the god of death and the underworld, called Apu-Punchau. Supay also controls a bunch of demons. The Maya have a lot of death gods. Depending on how you die is which god gets you, but their main god is Cesar, the stinky death god. The Aztecs, of course, have the death gods Mictlantecutli and the goddess Mictlatzihuatl. Both rule the Mictlan, aka the afterlife. If you want to learn more about the Aztec death gods and a little bit about the Mayan, I talk all about them in this video about El Día de los Muertos. How ancient civilizations look at and explain death is beyond fascinating. It really lets you know what is prized and what is looked down on in different societies. Number 8, the main gods. That sounds like a kind of lame, like religious group. The main god, like they're kind of full of themselves. If you want a less scary and maybe more positive mythical gods, let's talk about the main gods of major civilizations. They are all sun gods. A lot of ancient civilizations saw the sun as not just the bringer of light, but of life as well. Kind of morning star, if you will. The Inca have the sun god Apu-Punchau, aka Init. The Maya have Hunabku. The Aztecs have Huitzilopochtli. I like these mythical gods because you can get creative with color and styling. Let your imagination run wild and you might come up with something really cool. Number 9, El Chapulin Colorado. Every single Latin Hispanic kid knows about El Chapulin Colorado. Comedy legend Roberto Gomez Bolaños noticed there was no superheroes for Latin Hispanic kids, so he made one up. In 1973, the Mexican hero that is más ágil que una tortuga, más fuerte que un ratón, más noble que una lechuga, su escudo es su corazón, él es el Chapulín Colorado, debuted. Fun fact, Bumblebee Man on The Simpsons is based on El Chapulín. Also, El Chapulín has appeared in both DC and Marvel Comics, plus this guy from One Punch Man. Who knew El Chapulín was so influential? Number 10, Carmen Miranda, the Brazilian bombshell. This might be the most controversial character on this list. Carmen was both a pioneer and a trailblazer in American media, but also a very problematic stereotype. Carmen was the most popular, highest paid superstar of the 1940s. She was also what film scholars refer to as a Latin sex pot and a female Latin clown. Some things can be super enjoyable and fun, but also incredibly problematic. We shouldn't erase what Carmen Miranda achieved because problematic. If you want to do something that is more of a stereotype that isn't offensive, go with Carmen Miranda. Final thoughts. I hope you guys enjoyed this two-part journey through Hispanic Latinaridad. Is that a word? If that hack Shakespeare can make up words, so can we. Tell me who you guys are dressing up as in the comments down below. Have a safe and fun Halloween. Use these costume ideas for any and all kinds of costume parties. I hope your trick-or-treat bags are filled with king-size candy. Don't give away pennies or toothbrushes or raisins. Halloween is about fun and candy, so have a lot of fun and candy. Salud, mi familia.